So now I want to address the question that a lot of companies have: how to measure the success and evaluate the impact of your Expedition Money program. In other words, how do you know if your program is making a difference? Now, I've done this a long time with various other programs, and before we dive into specific metrics, there's one key word that you have to keep in mind about financial wellness programs: patience. One of the most important things I've learned through years of experience is that most people will not use financial wellness programs on a daily basis. They typically reach out to a specific program when they have an acute need. For example, let's say someone is facing an unexpected expense, making a major bill payment, applying for a mortgage, or dealing with a hit to their credit report. Maybe they're going through a divorce or trying to get their kid into college. These trigger events are when people seek out financial help. So even though we often see people seemingly ignoring the financial wellness programs for anywhere from 6 months to a year, there's usually a specific trigger that causes them to engage with the program. The key here is to keep the program top of mind, making sure that your people are reminded that they have it, but don't despair when you don't see people using it immediately or frequently. Usually, once they come in for that acute need and find that the program can be helpful, they are more willing to come back and more often in the future. Also, because we're constantly updating content and adding new material every day, including the educational videos, the money news, and podcast episodes, once people discover these resources, we typically see them returning for new and relevant information more often. It's important to understand that utilization for financial wellness programs starts very slowly, and it can take up to 3 years before you see significant usage. One of the biggest mistakes I see organizations make is implementing a program, thinking it's not being used, and then removing it right as people are getting used to having it and are starting to count on it as a resource. With this foundation of patience in mind, let's talk about how we approach measurement and evaluation. Rethinking measurement approaches. While there are certainly ways to measure program success, one of the key insights I've gained over the years is that traditional key performance indicators should sometimes be viewed with a healthy dose of skepticism. The second thing that I've learned is that while you can certainly use key performance indicators to track utilization and financial health, in many cases, these should be approached cautiously and sometimes even generally ignored when making decisions about your program's value. Let me explain why this perspective is important. There's a challenge with financial health metrics. First of all, trying to measure individuals' financial health is always difficult. In many cases, sometimes when people are actually repairing their financial situation, their traditional financial health metrics will paradoxically get worse. Let me give you an example. Credit scores may temporarily go down when someone opens new accounts or closes old ones. Cash on hand might decrease as someone pays down high interest debt. Net worth might drop when someone makes a quality of life decision like a career change or education. And debt might increase as someone consolidates multiple debts into a single loan. These metrics are often lagging indicators and can be deceiving when people are actually getting themselves on the right track. What looks like a worsening financial situation might actually be evidence of positive financial decisions. The second key insight is that you should not expect financial health to always improve. In many cases, as you might have experienced yourself, a lot of people find a happy balance in their life between their finances, living expenses, spending, charitable giving, and other priorities. From a traditional measurement standpoint, we don't see their financial health metrics continuously improving. They stay relatively stable, yet that balance is what we call the zone of financial wellness. When people find that equilibrium, we might mistakenly interpret the data as a stall in achievement, but it's actually an indicator that they have summited their financial journey and found their personal balance point. This is why I encourage a more nuanced approach to measurement than simply tracking numbers on a dashboard. Valuable measurement approaches. So if the traditional health metrics can be misleading, what should you focus on instead? Here are approaches that I found to be more meaningful. 1. Usage during critical moments. Track when people engage with the program during significant life events or financial challenges. The fact that they turn to the program in these moments is itself a success metric. 2. Return rate after first use. Monitor how often people come back after their first meaningful engagement. This indicates that they found value and are likely continuing to benefit. 3. Content consumption patterns. Look at which resources people are using and how this evolves over time. Movement from basic to more advanced content often includes growing financial sophistication. 4. Qualitative feedback. Gather stories and feedback about how the program has helped people address specific financial challenges. These narratives often reveal impact that numbers miss. 5. Long-term retention. The simple fact that people continue to have the program available and occasionally engage with it over multiple years is a success indicator. quick confidence tracking. While I'm cautious about overemphasizing metrics, there is one measurement approach that I found particularly valuable: quick confidence tracking. This is a brief pulse survey that measures overall financial confidence, the stress about money, progress towards financial goals, and specific topical questions that can rotate monthly. The advantage of using quick confidence tracking is that it's fast to complete, it's not intrusive, and it's focused on feelings and perceptions rather than just the hard numbers. It's easy to track over time and gets a high response rate due to its simplicity. So I recommend using occasional quick confidence tracking to maintain a general sense of how your population is feeling about their finances without creating survey fatigue or privacy concerns. Fresh content as an engagement driver. One insight that I've gained about program engagement is the power of fresh content. Because we're constantly updating content and adding new material every day, including educational videos, money news updates, podcast episodes, interactive videos, seasonal financial guidance, people tend to return to the platform to check out what's new. This ongoing content development serves as both a program benefit and an engagement driver. As I mentioned in the past, the administrator dashboard allows you to do specific participant engagement and tracking, and you can certainly use that data to help try to get some insights into your people. But I want to remind you of the importance of putting the patience principle into practice. So I want to return to the patience principle and give you a realistic timeline of what to expect. The utilization for your financial wellness programs typically starts very slow, and it can take up to 3 years before you see what might be considered significant usage. So in year 1, you might see an initial curiosity bump, then a typical drop in engagement. There's usually a small core of regular users, usually 1 to 10% of your population. And then there are sporadic users driven by specific needs. Throughout this period, you're going to want to continue building awareness of the platform. In year 2, you're going to see a gradual increase in return users. The word-of-mouth referrals are going to begin, and there's going to be more diverse use of program features. You're going to see people referencing the program when they have significant life events or financial decisions to be made. And in year 3, you're going to start seeing established usage patterns. The program is going to be viewed as a standard benefit and resource. There's going to be broader penetration across population segments, and you're going to see the natural emergence of program champions and advocates. One of the most common and unfortunate mistakes organizations make is implementing a program, becoming discouraged by seemingly low usage in the first year or two, and then removing the program just as people are getting used to it. Remember that financial wellness is a marathon, not a sprint, or as I say, an expedition. Just having the program available when people need it is creating value, even if the usage metrics don't immediately reflect that reality. Closing. So today we explored a different approach to measuring the success and evaluating the impact of your Expedition Money program. Let me summarize some of the key points. Patience is essential. Financial wellness programs require patience. Adoption is typically slow and builds over 2 to 3 years. Usage patterns are episodic. Most people engage with financial wellness resources during specific life events or when they're facing financial challenges, not on a daily basis. The traditional metrics can be misleading. Financial health metrics sometimes worsen temporarily when people are taking positive steps, and stable metrics may actually indicate healthy financial balance. Fresh content drives engagement. The regular updates and the new content that we produce give people reasons to return to the platform over time. And success stories tell the real impact. Qualitative feedback and personal stories often reveal program value that the numbers alone can never capture. The most important measure of success for your Expedition Money program is simply this: is it available when your people need it? If the answer is yes, you're succeeding. Now, in our next session, I'm going to tackle some of the most frequently asked questions that people have about the financial wellness program. I'll see you there.